On February 26, 1959, at 4:30 p.m. Moscow time, a directive stamped Top Secret was issued from the office of the Soviet Deputy Minister of Defense. Its subject, the retrieval and classification of all evidence from a mountain in the northern Urals known as Kholat Syakhl. The order was simple, brutal, and absolute. Secure the area, collect the bodies, and ensure the official narrative contained zero anomalies. For the next 3 decades, the KGB actively suppressed every piece of evidence that didn't fit their tidy explanation. They weren't covering up a crime. They were hiding a crime scene, one that suggested the perpetrator was something far beyond human understanding. This is not a story of hikers who got lost in a storm. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, and the terrifying reason why some files are still locked in Russian archives, marked with a single chilling word, neobhyasnemy, unexplainable. To understand the anomaly, you must first meet the man who found the key, buried not in snow, but in data. We will call him Leo. Leo was not a mountaineer or a detective. He was a forensic meteorologist. His world was one of isobars, jet stream patterns, and spectral analysis of atmospheric conditions. He worked from a small, climate-controlled office at a university in Helsinki, surrounded by servers humming with decades of global weather data. His obsession was a project he called the Autopsy of Storms, a meticulous effort to reconstruct historic weather events with modern computational models. It was a dry academic pursuit, until he decided to apply his system to one of the 20th century's most enduring cold cases, the final night of the Dyatlov group. He fed the system every known variable, the temperature, the wind speed, the topography. He was searching for the ghost of a storm. What his algorithm returned was not a weather pattern. It was a mathematical impossibility. The data spike was so violent, so statistically aberrant, it broke his confidence interval model. Leo leaned back from his monitor, the sterile light of the screen reflecting in his wide eyes. He had found the ghost in the machine, and it was screaming. The core of the Dyatlov Pass mystery is not the scattered bodies or the cut tent. Those are the symptoms. The disease was an event recorded in the very atmosphere itself. Leo's model identified a localized hyperacoustic shockwave that originated from a point several hundred meters above the campsite. This was not thunder. This was a sonic phenomenon of impossible origin and power. The pressure wave it generated would have been instantly debilitating, a physical blow to the internal organs, inducing immediate primal terror and crippling disorientation. It explains why experienced hikers would slash their way out of their tent from the inside and flee into certain death. They weren't fleeing a person, they were fleeing a sound. But this is where physics breaks down. For a sound to create that specific pressure signature, it would have required an energy source equivalent to a small, tactical explosion. Yet there was no blast crater, no scorch marks, no chemical residue. The sound was an effect, without a cause. This was Leo's impossible object, a weaponless weapon, and a causal sonic event. He needed a control. He ran the same analysis on the data from the nearest Soviet atmospheric monitoring station over 200 kilometers away for that exact same timestamp. The result confirmed the nightmare. The station's sensitive barographs had registered a corresponding high-frequency spike. The event was real. It was physical. And it had been detected by the Soviet military. They knew. They had always known. Shaken to his core, Leo took his findings to the Vault, the same encrypted forum from the Black Square case. He posted his data under the thread, Dyatlov, the autopsy of a silent weapon. The response from the global community was swift and terrifyingly precise. A materials scientist from Sweden focused on the only piece of physical evidence that remained, the hiker's clothing. Her analysis, using declassified KGB lab reports, revealed microscopic traces of a rare isotopic ratio of lead 208. This isotope is not found in nature. Its presence is a telltale signature of advanced nuclear processes, specifically a type of particle reactor the public wouldn't learn about for another 40 years. Then, a former Soviet audio engineer, now living in Israel, unearthed the meta-clue. He found a partial, heavily damaged recording from a nearby military listening post. The tape was mostly erased, but a salvageable fragment contained a few seconds of audio from that night. It wasn't the sound of the wind. It was a low-frequency pulsed infrasound waveform, a pattern that matched no known aircraft, weapon, or natural phenomenon. The most chilling detail? The file's metadata listed the recording's classification level as ZON, a Soviet code word reserved for phenomena with no scientific explanation. The digital detectives had not just found evidence of a cover-up. They had found the Soviet Union's own secret file on an impossible event. The forum's breakthrough triggered an immediate and aggressive response. Leo's university department head received a formal, off-the-record visit from two men from the Russian embassy, requesting he cease all research related to Soviet historical affairs. The thread on the vault was hit with a coordinated DDoS attack, and 3 key users reported their local files, the spectral analyses, the audio fragment, becoming permanently corrupted, overwritten by a wiper algorithm that left behind a signature Russian cyber unit is known for. This was a modern-day digital version of the KGB's evidence burn. But the most damning evidence of a pattern emerged from the forum's archives. A user cross-referenced the Dyatlov data with another, lesser-known incident from 1972, the Valley of the Death in Yakutia, where a similar cluster of wildlife and a group of geologists were found dead with identical internal injuries and no external cause. The official cause? Natural causes. The same pattern. Impossible trauma, a swift official investigation, and a buried file. The cover-up wasn't for a single event. It was for an ongoing, recurring, and utterly inexplicable phenomenon happening within Soviet borders. So what created a weaponless weapon on a remote mountainside? The theories are as stark and brutal as the Ural winter itself. Theory 1. The sinister test. This posits that the Dyatlov group stumbled into the live-fire testing range of a Soviet proto-particle weapon, a device designed to project focused acoustic or non-lethal kinetic energy, a terrifying new frontier in warfare. The hikers weren't murdered. They were collateral damage. The cover-up was to protect the most valuable military secret of the Cold War. A secret so advanced, its very existence rewrites the history of 20th century technology. Theory 2. The profound glitch. This theory suggests the hikers encountered a reality puncture, a temporary localized breakdown in the laws of physics, perhaps caused by unique geological and atmospheric conditions. What if Kholat Shakal is a place where the fabric of our dimension is thin? The sound they heard wasn't a sound at all, but the causal shockwave of something pushing through from somewhere else. Their injuries weren't from a weapon, but from exposure to physics that shouldn't exist. The orange tan, the radiation, not clues to a bomb, but the residue of another reality. The Soviet government wasn't covering up a weapon. They were desperately trying to contain the knowledge that our world is not as solid as we believe. The human cost of this secret was absolute. Leo's university funding for the autopsy of storms was abruptly cut. His emails to his contacts on the vault began bouncing back. The last message he ever posted read, "They have my name. The weather here is getting cold. Do not try to contact me again." He became a ghost, a modern-day echo of the 9 hikers he tried to vindicate. The official case file in Russia remains officially open, yet completely inaccessible. The final haunting piece of evidence is not a document, but an absence. A formal request by an international research group to view the autopsy reports was met with a 1-sentence reply. The requested files do not exist. They were not listed as destroyed or lost or classified. They were declared to have never existed at all. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is a crime where the evidence has been systematically erased from the world, first by the KGB and now by their digital successors. They are not hiding who killed 9 hikers. They are hiding what? So the next time you look up at a silent, starlit mountain sky, remember that the most profound secrets are not always hidden in vaults. Sometimes they are hidden in the empty spaces where the truth used to be. Subscribe to Midnight Glitch. The past is the deepest mystery of all.